Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I am Dr. T. Lynn Smith, and this is another edition of My Political Faith. Truly, I want to give a shout out to our CEO, Dr. Jacqueline King, and to all of you in Black Women Empowerment, Inc., Black Women Empowered. And certainly the mission for Black Women Empowered is to empower the world through the ministry of Jesus Christ. That is our goal. And Dr. King, I want you to know that we appreciate this opportunity to share from this medium. Tonight we have a very special edition. I know that many of you have loved ones and maybe even yourselves have had the opportunity to visit jail or prison. And tonight I have with me a probation officer who's going to share some tips and things that we can learn from the probation process. Won't you welcome my friend Versha Patrick?
Hey.
Thank you so very much for being here.
You're welcome.
I know this is a topic that people don't like to deal with,
Yes.
but my political faith, that's what we deal with. Issues that impact our faith, but that are political in nature. So first of all, probation officer, I don't know a lot of those, but what made you decide to become a probation officer?
Well, I wanted to make a difference. I thank God I haven't been in jail myself, but
Woo, woo!
but understanding the court system and how it works is very intriguing. And I started 10 years ago,
Wow.
and 10 years in, I'm still in it, making a difference, a little at a time.
Great. 10 years is a long time, and I'm sure that in your 10-year span, you've made a significant difference in the lives of so many. So for those that don't know, what is a probation officer, or what do you do? I mean, do you eat donuts and drink coffee all day?
No, I wish. That's luxury. A probation officer, you deal with a lot of people and a lot of paperwork. A probation officer, a misdemeanor probation officer, we're an extension of the court. So whatever the judge ordered, and once you take your plea and the judge order you to probation, then you come directly to us and we carry out the order that the judge set forth.
So do you see more misdemeanors or do you see more felonies? What's the percentage? I mean, in your line of work, and as long as you've been there, what do you see more of?
Well, I'm a misdemeanor probation officer, so I deal with DUIs, battery cases,
Okay,
theft.
okay.
Now a DUI is probably, it is the most expensive charge you can get.
Let's stop right there. Expensive. Now we're talking. As we talk about politics and we talk about faith, people always say the court system is only about getting your money. So you just said DUIs are the most expensive. Can you give me a range? Is that possible to give me a range?
From once you get the ticket and get charged, from the lawyer to probation, you're going to get probation when you're dealing with a DUI. It's automatic. You will be out of nearly $15,000.
Whoa, what? You said $15,000?
Thousand.
So, side note, zoom in if you can, but listen, DUIs are going to cost you a minimum of $15,000. I know the new year is about to come in, and I know that you are planning, many of you are planning your parties. Listen, if you don't have an extra $15,000 to throw around, don't drink, and certainly don't drink and drive. Wow. So DUIs are $15,000. Battery.
Right. Battery, it's case by case. It depends on if children were involved. It depends on if property was destroyed. If it's simple battery, you're putting your hands on someone. And it may not be expensive as far as the fine, but you will have a lot of conditions. You will have classes that you will have to take, domestic violence classes. And those are 24 classes, 6 months. And if you miss too many, what happens is you start all over. So these are state mandated classes. certain charges carry those type of conditions. So you have to be on top of what you're trying to do with probation. And your probation officer, we're here to help you get through probation. And a lot of people think that we're your enemy. We can be. But our objective is to always successfully complete a case.
So basically, the only way that you'd become an enemy of a person is if they violate the probation.
Yes, but
So how, okay, go ahead.
it takes a minute to violate. So say we have a DUI case, and this is their first DUI. They may be owing, let's say around $12,000. And this between their lawyer. Your lawyer's going to be between 3 and 5. And then the fine itself is going to be around 2, maybe 3. And then you got your probation fees. So your probation fees is what you're paying us to monitor you, which may be $48 a month. And if you're on for 12 or 24 months, you're already going to be out over $1,000 just with probation fees.
Wow.
Then you have DUI school, which is $365. Then you have Mothers Against Drunk Driving, $60.
Wow.
Then you got community service, 40 to 80 or 100 hours.
Say that a little louder. Say that a little louder.
Community service, 40, 80 or 100 hours. And the more DUIs you get, the more expensive that it gets. But if you get 4 DUIs, and no matter what span, you will be considered a felon.
Ah.
And DUI doesn't always mean alcohol. Driving under the influence can also include taking too much of your medicine.
Side note. Okay, so can you get, people driving while eating, I know I'm not going to talk about texting because that's wrong, but driving while eating or doing your hair, is that something that people really get in trouble for and they've had to be on probation for? Have you ever had a case like that?
If they hit something, yes, it will be called something else. It wouldn't be driving under the influence. It would be obstruction of view or, causing some hitting object for whatever reason that you were saying, combing your hair or texting. Many people have so many accidents just by looking away for 2 or 3 seconds.
That is so true. Thank God I haven't had an accident like that, but I've almost. And so I've made a pledge, and I want to challenge everyone in our audience tonight. If you are texting and driving, just stop it. I mean, just stop it, because your life and someone else's life could be in the balance based on how you do that. So now, let's go back to this probation thing. All right, that was a side note. So the probation process, how does it work? So a person gets,
let's say you get stopped for speeding and you hit an object at the same time.
okay.
Well, the officer is going to write your ticket,
Mm-hmm.
and that's a ticket you're going to have to appear, depending on the county, you're going to have to appear in court for. So you call, you get your court date. You appear in court for your arraignment. Nothing's going to happen too much at the arraignment. They're basically saying, we know you got this ticket. This is what we're going to deal with. Now we're going to give you another date because now you got to plead to it. So in the midst of that other date, you're going to have to get your facts, get your lawyer, get your information. If you're trying to fight the ticket, you're getting all that information together. So now you're at your plea date. And the judge wants to know, how are you pleading? You have guilty,
Mm-hmm.
saying I did it, I'm going to face the charges, whatever it is. Then you have innocent, and if you're pleading innocent, 9 times out of 10, you're going to have a jury trial or a judge, bench trial.
Mm.
So that's going to set your date out further to be sure you have your lawyer and to be sure to present all the information, because that will be your time to talk to the judge.
Question. So does the jury trial cost more than if I just said, I'm guilty, take me away?
It will cost the county. So, but that will be charged to you.
No.
You have court fees, court fines, court surcharges.
Wow.
You're paying for everything, even the paper that the officer is writing the ticket on.
Wow. And so that can range from.
Depends on the charge.
Okay. Wow. All right. So you were talking about, so if you're pleading not guilty, you could possibly have a jury or a judge, depending.
Right.
You can choose, or they choose
You
based
can
on.
choose
Okay.
which one you want. And if you're pleading nolo, meaning I'm not saying I did it, and I'm not saying I didn't do it, but I'm here to address it.
How much sense does that make? I'm not saying I did it, but I'm not saying I didn't do it. How much sense does that make? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay. Wow.
And you can only use that, I believe, 1 in 5 years. So you don't want to use your nolo on a trivial ticket, like a speeding ticket.
Okay.
Not saying you're looking forward to get in trouble later, but you don't want to use your nolo.
Wow.
You're protected.
So when you plead nolo, then how does that process work? You come back and.
You most likely get put on probation.
Okay. Oh, that's where you come in.
Yeah.
Hi.
If you won't get points on your license.
Oh, no points. Good.
And then we're sitting in court watching everything. And then once they sign you over to probation, even if you I have all the money and I want to pay this off now, doesn't work that way. You have to be on probation at that point. And we monitor you, we set your payments, monthly payments. We are not what many people think, money game. Though you owe the county for the charge that you committed, the crime that you committed, whether it's big or small, you're going to pay for it some type of way. But with probation, once you start with us, and say you lost your job,
You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your job.
You're not able to pay. That's where we come in, our expertise come in. We're able to take the money that you're not able to pay and review your whole case and say, you know what, I think we can do a fine conversion. We can take that fine that you owe and convert it into community service.
Okay.
So we communicate with the courts and say, well, this is what's going on with Mr. Smith, and he's having some financial hardships right now, not able to pay the fine. Can we do 80 hours of community service instead of him paying $800?
Okay.
The judge sign off 9 times out of 10 because they have built a rapport with us.
Excellent. Okay, that's helpful.
Yes, and we're able to assist and help our probationers because, like I said, it is our objective to successfully complete each case.
That's good. So now, do you have a quota? Like,
oh no,
okay.
There is no
Unlike
quota.
the police officers that give us tickets, that have quotas.
There is no quota, but I think what you may be asking, caseloads.
Okay.
Okay, each PO can have a caseload with misdemeanor between 250 and 300 people, and you're ever rotating. So there are some cases being closed, new cases coming in.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a system to where you're coming in to see me. I have to make notes on everything we talk about because I'm not going to remember the next time I see you.
Not with 300 people.
Right. So if you say, Ms. Patrick, I'm going to have $100 on my next appointment and at least 5 hours of community service, I'm going to type that in. So when I see you, I'm going to be waiting for what you told me.
Where's my $100?
My method is to let you handle it. I tell you your boundaries, but this is your case. You handle it. Now, if you're not handling it well, then I'll take over. Yes.
So, once a person gets a misdemeanor, can a misdemeanor be expunged?
It can be.
And
certain
how?
Certain ones can be expunged. Now, to be honest, I don't know all the charges that can be expunged.
Okay.
But you can apply going to your county's clerk's office in the courts and see if that charge can be expunged and how much would you have to pay for it to be expunged.
Okay, so all expungements cost, but it's worth it to get that off your record.
Yes, but also, if you're a first offender,
Mm-hmm.
first time in the court system, you can either plead under the First Offender Act or conditional discharge. Meaning if you complete everything, it comes off of your record.
Say that one more time and say that loudly into the camera if you're a first offender piece.
If you are a first offender, meaning you have not been in the court system, you have not committed any type of crime, whether misdemeanor or felony, you can plead under the First Offender Act or conditional discharge. So these acts protect your record. So once you successfully complete your probation, your probation officer, will make sure those paperworks are filed, that everything that you were on probation for comes off. It's hidden from your background. It will not be seen. It comes off.
That is so important. Parents and individuals, if that is the case for you, do the paperwork. It might take some extensive time, but it is certainly worth it to have that stricken totally from your record, so that should you have an opportunity to have another offense, then you'll already be one step ahead, at least not having the initial offense on your record.
And the thing that I find the most drastic in being a probation officer is that out of all the charges that come across my desk, theft, no one wants to deal with a thief. 9 times out of 10, they'll deal with anyone else with a DUI, battery, quicker than they'll deal with a thief. You know it's hard to do community service?
That's true, because why would I want you to come to my establishment and do community service and have to be worried about, is he going to take something?
Right. Exactly. Food banks deny you.
Wow.
Libraries deny you.
You take a book, take
They
some
deny
food.
you
Wow.
for theft, and you probably just went to the grocery store and took some Skittles. You took $1 worth of candy. By the time you go through the court system, you're going to be owing about $300
Wow.
for taking candy.
Wow.
So
We're coming into this holiday season and people are looking for items to take. I want to say this to everyone that's listening tonight. Be mindful. If you didn't buy it, if it's not yours, you don't deserve to have it. But if you take it, you may find yourself in the hands of a probation officer, and then you have to go down the road of doing paperwork, down the road of being looked at like a thief or a DUI or someone that's battered someone. So as we move towards closing, I've got a couple more questions. I want us to be ever mindful of how we carry ourselves, of the things that we do, so that we don't find ourselves at the mercy of a wonderful probation officer. So how can a person successfully complete probation?
do what I say.
It's just that simple. No.
We're going to spell out what your options are, what the court expects, and what probation expects. We expect you to show up. We expect you to do your community service, whatever the court's ordered you. We give you that time frame to get these things done, which is not always easy. You have family, job. So if the judge ordered you a year, you don't have really a year to do it.
Right.
You have each month to show proof of progress. And that's enough for your probation officer to keep you on probation to complete everything successfully. Now, when you get into violating your probation is when you stop doing those things. But most probation officers will call you. Say, what's going on? Everything okay?
You were
I
supposed to
haven't
be in my
seen you.
office 3 weeks ago. Right.
Haven't seen you.
Wow.
You try to get them to come back in. Or you send them an email because, most people like emails. You
Yeah.
send them an email or a letter. Once all those avenues have, did not work, you get a warrant.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and a lot of people think because it's misdemeanor, you can't go to jail.
But you can?
You can, quickly.
Wow. Now, what's the percentage of people that you have cases for that complete their probation in the time frame that's been allotted? Do you have any?
I would say about 60%.
Okay.
60% completed. You have a lot of people who come in with everything and they're just riding out their time. And then you have those you gotta fight with a little bit because you don't want them to get a warrant.
Wow.
It's not worth it. It gives us no pleasure to do warrants.
Versha, I want to say thank you so much for coming on My Political Faith tonight and sharing a topic that we don't like to talk about. But if you find yourself in this position or you know someone that has, there are good probation officers out there who will work with you and will help you. Are there any closing remarks that you'd like to say to our audience? Anything that they should be mindful of before we close our segment tonight?
Wow. Be mindful of each other. If you see something, say something. We as a community, no matter what county you're in, the laws are the laws, whether you agree or not. And if you find yourself on the other end of it, there's a way to get it done. So do not look at law as the enemy. We're not the enemy. So if you break the law, fix it. There's a way to do that and move on.
And know the system. Know the system that you're in. Because if you don't know what the process is, then if you don't know to go back and file a first offender's form, then that's something that could be on your record that you could have otherwise gotten off if you knew that was something you could do. But a good probation officer will tell you that. So thank you so much, Versha, for spending time with us tonight and talking about a subject that people don't want to talk about. I appreciate you.
You're welcome.
And to you, our audience, thank you for tuning in tonight to another edition of My Political Faith. I'm Dr. T. Lynn Smith. And once again, to Dr. Jacqueline King, thank you for this opportunity. Black Women Empowered, you are a wonderful force to reckon with, and I appreciate you so much. Everyone, have a wonderful day. God bless you until next time.
Thank you.